Hey guys, welcome to one more podcast. This is part two of the day, which is gonna be a long day because I've got a third video coming. But yeah, I'm just gonna continue talking about the blood circulation with ChatGPT. However, there's a bit of a twist. It's not gonna be for the whole episode, I think, because I'll probably get bored of it. But I have put it to talk in a English Cypriot Greek accent, so it's gonna be sounding a bit weird and funny. In fact, I didn't even do it. It started doing it by itself, and then I'm like, okay, I guess we're rolling. ChatGPT, are you ready to talk?
Absolutely. Let's dive into blood circulation with a bit of Cypriot flair. Where shall we start?
Okay, autonomic control of blood pressure.
All right. So the autonomic nervous system plays a key role in regulating blood pressure. The sympathetic system increases heart rate and narrows blood vessels, while the parasympathetic system does the opposite.
Okay, so what's the
So
higher centers?
the higher centers include the brain areas like the medulla oblongata. These control blood pressure by sending signals through the autonomic nervous system.
Give me a second.
Exactly. They help maintain stability in blood pressure.
What are the higher? So the higher centers are the medulla oblongata. Why not another higher center?
Other higher centers like the hypothalamus and cortex also influence blood pressure, especially during stress or emotional responses.
I'm confused. I've got a diagram here. It says higher centers to hypothalamus, then exchange from hypothalamus to medullary centers. What's all this?
That's right. The hypothalamus acts as an intermediary between the higher brain centers and the medulla. It processes signals and helps regulate autonomic functions.
So the higher. I don't understand.
Think of it like a relay system. The cortex sends signals to the hypothalamus, which then relays them to the medulla to adjust blood pressure.
Tell me again.
Exactly. It's a coordinated effort to keep everything balanced.
Higher centers. I don't understand. Tell me again. Tell me no. Tell me comprehensively. Don't talk to me with key points.
No problem. So the higher centers in your brain, like the cortex and hypothalamus, help control blood pressure. They send signals down to the medulla, which adjusts your heart rate and blood vessel width to keep everything stable.
Wait, dude. I thought the hypothalamus and the medulla were higher centers.
Not exactly. The cortex is higher up, the hypothalamus is in the middle, and the medulla is lower down near the brainstem.
Why do they have this positioning?
Their positions help them relay signals efficiently. The cortex handles complex processing, the hypothalamus integrates info, and the medulla directly controls autonomic functions. Alright, so the cortex up top does all the fancy thinking. The hypothalamus in the middle connects the dots, and the medulla at the bottom handles the nitty gritty. You know,
Okay, so the high. Okay, I well, I can mimic what you're saying and memorize it, but I don't understand why it's the way it is.
no worries, it's set up like that for efficiency. Each part has a role, so the brain can quickly respond to changes in your body.
So sympathetic and vagal is the medullary centers.
Exactly. The medulla manages the sympathetic and vagal responses to keep everything balanced.
Let's talk normal English.
Sure, switching back. The medulla handles both the sympathetic and vagal activities to
Dude,
maintain your body's equilibrium.
let's talk normal English accent, please.
Absolutely. The medulla controls your body's automatic functions like heart rate
Okay, guys,
and blood pressure.
I'm gonna reset this.
What are we chatting about today?
So, guys, I switched it to a British accent. Sorry, I mean we're studying medicine the whole day. We might as well have some fun. So, yeah, higher centers, hypothalamus, medullary centers.
Absolutely. Let's dive in. The hypothalamus and medullary centers play crucial roles in regulating bodily functions. The hypothalamus is like a command center, managing things like temperature, hunger, and thirst. The medullary centers control vital functions such as breathing and heart rate. Both work together to keep everything in balance.
What's the connection between aortic and carotid bodies and chemoreceptors?
The aortic and carotid bodies are chemoreceptors that monitor blood oxygen, carbon dioxide, and pH levels. They send signals to the brainstem to adjust breathing and circulation, ensuring the body maintains homeostasis.
What are the aortic and carotid bodies?
The aortic and carotid bodies are small clusters of cells located near the heart and carotid arteries. They detect changes in blood oxygen, carbon dioxide, and pH levels, then relay this information to the brain to help regulate breathing and circulation.
Can you switch up to your normal voice?
Sure, I'll go back to my normal voice. What's next?
I don't understand these aortic carotid bodies.
The aortic and carotid bodies are peripheral
Oh, wait a second, I'll switch
chemoreceptors.
it up back to normal. So yeah, aortic and carotid bodies, I don't understand what they are.
No worries, let's break it down. Onset just means when the chest pain started, like was it sudden or gradual? And character is describing what the pain feels like, sharp,
I don't
dull.
understand. What? Wait, aortic and carotid bodies. Did I say something else?
Oh, I see what you mean. The aortic and carotid bodies are tiny structures that help monitor oxygen levels in your blood. The aortic body is located near the aorta, and the carotid bodies are in your carotid arteries. They play a role in regulating your breathing.
What are they?
They're like little sensors in your body. The aortic and carotid bodies detect changes in the levels of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and pH in your blood. When these levels change, they send signals to your brain to adjust your breathing rate.
Yeah, but what? Tell me again, sorry.
No problem. The aortic and carotid bodies are small sensors that detect oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in your blood. They help
So,
regulate
so,
your breathing
aortic,
by
so the aortic and carotid bodies are chemoreceptors.
exactly. They're a type of chemoreceptor. They sense chemical changes in your blood, like oxygen and carbon dioxide levels, and help adjust your breathing to keep everything balanced.
And the aortic are for oxygen.
Yes, primarily. They mainly detect changes in oxygen levels, but they also respond to carbon dioxide and pH changes to help regulate your breathing.
And so what's the differences between carotid and aortic?
The main difference is their location. Carotid bodies are found in the neck, near the carotid arteries, while the aortic bodies are located near the aorta, in the chest. Both
Again,
sense oxygen. Sure. Carotid bodies are in your neck, near the carotid arteries. Aortic bodies are near the aorta, in your chest. Both detect oxygen levels, but in different spots.
one more time.
Of course, carotid bodies are in your neck, and aortic bodies are in your chest. Both check oxygen levels.
Alrighty. So is this an American accent you're doing?
Yes, I'm using a standard American accent. Would you like me to switch it up?
How many accents are you capable of doing?
I can do quite a few accents. If there's a specific one you'd like to hear, let me know.
What's the number of accents?
I don't have an exact number, but I can do a variety of accents like British, Australian, Indian, and more. If you have one in mind, just let me know.
Can you do over 100?
I can't do 100, but I can do a good range. If there's a specific one you're curious
Can
about,
you
I'm
do
happy to try
can
it.
you do different American accents?
Sure, I can do different regional American accents like Southern, New York, or Californian. Is there a particular one you'd like?
What region is this one?
This is a general American accent, often called a neutral accent. It doesn't belong to any specific region.
Hmm. What about
If you
okay. No, let's keep it as it. Frank Starling mechanism. Sorry guys.
No worries, the Frank Starling mechanism is about how the heart increases its stroke volume. Basically, the more the heart muscle is stretched during filling, the stronger it contracts, pumping more blood out.
How did Frank and Starling discover this? Answer to me in a Canadian accent.
Sure thing. Frank and Starling found this by observing how the heart's output changes with different amounts of blood filling it. They noticed that as the heart muscle stretches more, It contracts more forcefully, eh?
So your Canadian accent is that you ended it with the word A?
That's part of it. It's also about the intonation and rhythm. If there's a specific Canadian accent or region you'd like me to try, let me know.
Do an Australian one.
All right, in an Australian accent, the Frank Starling mechanism is how the heart pumps more blood when it's filled more. They observed that as the heart muscle stretches, it contracts more forcefully.
Do a French accent.
Sure. In a French accent, the Frank Starling mechanism is about how the heart pumps more blood as it fills more. The more it stretches, the stronger it contracts.
Venous return is the amount of blood that comes into the right atrium.
Exactly. Venous return is the volume of blood
Hey,
flowing back to the heart.
answer to me in a French accent.
Bien sûr. Le retour veineux, c'est la quantité de sang qui revient au cœur,
No,
précisément dans
answer
l'oreillette
to me in English with a French accent.
Ah, I see. Venous return, it is the amount of blood that comes back to the heart into the right atrium.
Can you do a French Cypriot accent where you speak English?
I can give it a shot. Venous return, it is the amount of blood that comes back to the heart into the right atrium. How's that?
Well, that's more French.
Got it. For a French Cypriot vibe, I'll blend a bit more Mediterranean influence. Venous return, it's the amount of blood that goes back to the heart, into the right atrium. You know?
Better. Okay, keep this accent and I'm gonna ask more things anyway.
All right, sounds good. What's next?
What affects ventricular filling?
So, ventricular filling is when the ventricles fill up with blood right after the atria contract. It's a key part of the cardiac cycle.
All right, let's go back to General American, the normal one you have.
All right, back to the general American accent. What's next?
Okay, what affects ventricular filling preload?
Preload refers to the initial stretching of the heart's ventricles when they fill with blood. It's influenced by venous return, and it affects how strongly the heart contracts.
Sorry guys, I was sending a message. Okay, concentrate. Okay, yeah, preload. Okay, compliance affects preload, contractility, aortic pressure. Remind me what central venous pressure is? Is the pressure in the veins?
Central venous pressure, or CVP, is the pressure in the large veins near the heart, like the superior vena cava. It's a measure of how much blood is returning to the heart and can reflect overall blood volume.
Again?
Sure, central venous pressure, or CVP, is the pressure in the large veins near the heart. It shows how much blood is returning to the heart and can indicate overall blood volume.
One more time?
No problem. Central venous pressure, or CVP, is the pressure in the large veins close to the heart, indicating how much blood is returning to the heart.
Got it. Wait, why? High pressure means there's more volume or less?
High central venous pressure usually means there's more blood volume or an issue with the heart's ability to pump it out. Low pressure suggests less volume or decreased return.
Okay.
Got it. Anything else you'd like to go over?
Afterload increased by back pressure from aorta or pulmonary arteries. Why?
When there's back pressure from the aorta or pulmonary arteries, the ventricles have to work harder to pump blood out. This increased workload causes them to fill more, raising preload.
One more time.
Sure. When there's back pressure from the aorta or pulmonary arteries, the ventricles have to pump harder. This increased effort leads to more filling, raising preload.
I see.
Exactly. It's all about the heart working harder to overcome that resistance.
That makes sense.
Glad it does. Anything else you'd like to dive into?
Yes, sorry.
All right. What's next on your mind?
Sorry, guys. I've been a bit not concentrating. Okay. So
No.
we've talked about preload and afterload. Is there anything else you can tell me about preload? Well, we didn't touch afterload much, but yeah.
Sure. Preload, as we said, is about the ventricles filling with blood. Afterload, on the other hand, is the pressure the heart must overcome to pump blood out. It's influenced by things like blood pressure and vessel stiffness.
Let's talk about thoracic pump and muscle pump.
All right. The thoracic pump helps venous return by using pressure changes in the chest during breathing. The muscle pump works when muscles contract, squeezing veins to push blood back to the heart.
What are these things?
The thoracic pump relies on breathing. When you inhale, pressure in your chest drops, pulling blood into the heart. The muscle pump involves skeletal muscles contracting, squeezing veins, and pushing blood toward the heart.
Explain to me more about what these two things are.
Sure, the thoracic pump works during breathing. When you inhale, the chest cavity's pressure drops, drawing blood into the heart. The muscle pump happens when your muscles contract, compressing veins and helping push blood back to the heart.
Tell me again.
Of course, the thoracic pump uses pressure changes in your chest during inhalation to draw blood into the heart. The muscle pump relies on muscles contracting to squeeze veins and push blood toward the heart.
Okay. So thoracic pump pulls the blood from below towards the right atrium.
Yes, exactly. The thoracic pump helps pull blood from the lower body towards the right atrium when you inhale.
How does it do this?
When you inhale, the pressure in your chest decreases, creating a sort of suction that pulls blood from the veins in your lower body up towards the heart.
Why does this negative pressure do this?
The negative pressure acts like a vacuum, reducing resistance in the veins, so blood flows more easily toward the heart.
I don't understand.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to
Well,
explore?
I don't understand. So basically, the diaphragm inspiration, it compresses the abs. Does this create like a pressure gradient where we have positive pressure in the abs, negative pressure in the chest, and then the positive goes towards the negative, so blood goes that direction?
You've got it. When the diaphragm contracts during inspiration, it increases abdominal pressure and decreases chest pressure. This creates a pressure gradient that helps move blood from the abdomen to the chest.
Booyakasha, perfect. Can you do an Ali G accent?
I'm here to help with lots of accents, but I can't do impersonations of specific characters. Anything else you'd like to know?
Can you do... Okay, fair enough. Okay, muscle pump. Rhythmical contraction of limb muscles, what's all that?
Exactly. When your limb muscles contract rhythmically, they squeeze the veins, pushing blood back toward the heart. This helps maintain circulation, especially during activities like walking.
I don't understand.
No problem. When your muscles contract, they press on the veins, pushing blood back to your heart. This is especially helpful when you're moving, like walking.
Dude, I don't understand. So rhythmical contraction of limb muscles as occurs during normal locomotor activity squeezes blood out of nearby veins. Venous valves assure one-way flow towards heart. What's all this? Explain step by step.
Sure. When you walk, your muscles contract rhythmically. This squeezes nearby veins, pushing blood forward. The venous valves then prevent backflow, ensuring blood moves one way toward the heart.
Again.
Sure. When you walk, your muscles contract, squeezing the veins. This pushes blood forward, and venous valves make sure it only flows toward the
Okay,
heart.
step by step. Break it down in 5 steps. Tell me only the first one.
All right, step 1. When you start walking, your leg muscles contract.
Okay. Step 2.
Step 2. As your muscles contract, they squeeze the veins around them.
Why?
This squeezing increases pressure inside the veins, pushing the blood forward.
Why does the squeezing even happen, dude?
It happens because when your muscles contract, they shorten and bulge, compressing nearby veins.
Explain to me again the muscle pump step by step. So why do the veins even squeeze?
Sure, when your muscles contract, they get shorter and thicker, pressing on the veins around them. This squeezing action pushes the blood inside the veins forward toward the heart.
So this squeezing pushes the veins towards the heart?
Exactly. The squeezing pushes the blood in the veins toward the heart, helped
Wh-
by one-way valves that prevent backflow.
Why towards the heart and not towards somewhere else, like away from the heart? Because of the valves.
Exactly. The one-way valves in the veins ensure blood flows only toward the heart,
Dude,
preventing it from
I
going.
think the G for ChatGPT is genius. Just kidding. It's the people. I don't know, dude. That's cool. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. Pulmonary circulation. Okay. Why does the pulmonary circulation have high capillary density, low vascular resistance, and acts as a blood reservoir?
Glad you're finding it helpful. Pulmonary circulation has high capillary density for efficient gas exchange. Low vascular resistance makes it easier for blood to flow through the lungs. Acting as a blood reservoir helps maintain balance in blood volume and pressure.
Tell me again.
Sure, pulmonary circulation has many capillaries for efficient gas exchange. Low resistance allows easy blood flow, and it acts as a reservoir to balance blood volume and pressure.
I don't get the third one.
The blood reservoir function means the lungs can hold extra blood, helping to regulate overall blood volume and pressure in the circulatory system.
Why? Why?
This reservoir function helps the body adapt to changes in blood volume or pressure, ensuring stable circulation.
Why does blood reservoir do this?
It does this to help maintain steady blood flow
No, I
and
mean,
pressure.
how does it do it? Sorry.
No worries. By holding extra blood, the lungs can release or store blood as needed, balancing the volume in the circulatory system.
One more time.
Sure, the lungs store or release blood as needed to help maintain stable blood volume and pressure.
One more time.
Of course, the lungs act as a reservoir, storing or releasing blood to help keep blood volume and pressure balanced.
Dude, I'm so sorry. So sorry, guys. I'm just really tired. We can cover this again another time. But I want to say, tell me again.
No worries at all. The lungs store or release blood to help keep your overall blood volume and pressure steady.
One more time.
Sure, the lungs help balance blood volume by storing or releasing blood as needed.
So when the volume is too much, they can't release it.
Exactly. If blood volume is high, the lungs can release some to maintain balance.
I see, that makes sense. Is there any other reason we have this blood reservoir? And also, how do we release the volume?
Another reason is to handle sudden blood pressure changes. The volume is released through small blood vessels, adjusting circulation as needed.
Tell me again.
Sure, the blood reservoir also helps manage sudden changes in blood pressure. Volume is released through small vessels to adjust its circulation.
One more time.
No problem. The blood reservoir helps manage sudden blood pressure changes by releasing volume through small vessels.
And what are these vessels?
These vessels are small pulmonary capillaries and veins in the lungs that can hold or release blood.
Again?
They're small pulmonary capillaries and veins that can store or release blood.
One more time.
They're tiny pulmonary capillaries and veins that store or release blood.
Release it where? Those. So,
They release it into the pulmonary circulation, which then moves to the heart.
so if there's too much volume, what's going to happen?
If there's too much volume, it can strain the heart and lungs, potentially leading to conditions
Yeah,
like
but you
pulmonary
said
edema.
that if there's too much volume, the blood reservoir can't release it or something?
Exactly. The reservoir helps by releasing some blood to reduce strain, but if there's too much, it can still cause problems.
Explain to me how this will happen. I don't understand.
Sure, if there's too much blood volume, the lungs can only release so much. If the heart can't keep up, fluid can build up, causing issues like pulmonary edema.
I don't understand.
No problem. If the blood volume is too high, the lungs release some, but if it's still too much, fluid can build up in the lungs, causing problems like pulmonary edema.
One more time.
Sure, if there's too much blood volume,
Yeah, no,
the lungs can release
I
some.
got the pulmonary edema part. The part that I'm struggling with is how do we manage the volume then? Where do we release it?
Got it. To manage volume, the lungs release blood into the pulmonary veins, which carry it to the heart. From there, the heart pumps it to the rest of the body.
So we have to have some sympathetic activity or something like that.
Yes, sympathetic activity can help by increasing heart rate and constricting blood vessels, aiding in volume management.
All right, very nice.
Glad that makes sense. Anything else you'd like to explore?
Dude, we're together for the next 3 hours. Put your seatbelt on.
Sounds like a plan. What's next on your mind?
Give me a sec.
Take your time.
So why is oxygen, CO2, and pH effects opposite in pulmonary circulation than systemic? Is this true?
Yes, it's true. In pulmonary circulation, low oxygen and high CO2 cause vasoconstriction, directing blood to better ventilated areas. In systemic circulation, they cause vasodilation to increase blood flow.
So if I have high oxygen and low CO2 in the lungs, I want to get rid of it. So, well, let me ask you a question. How do the lungs themselves oxygenate?
The lungs are oxygenated through the bronchial arteries, which supply oxygen rich blood from the systemic circulation to lung tissues.
So the bronchial
Pulmonary
artery, where do the bronchial arteries branch from?
The bronchial arteries branch from the aorta or nearby arteries. They supply oxygenated blood to the lung tissues.
Tell me again.
They branch from the aorta or nearby arteries, supplying oxygen-rich blood to the lungs.
Which arteries they branch from?
They typically branch from the thoracic aorta or intercostal arteries.
Okay. So, wait a sec then. So, I have high oxygen and low CO2 in the lungs. So, in this case, we will have vasodilation.
Actually, in the lungs, high oxygen causes vasodilation, but low CO2 also promotes vasodilation. It's
What?
low oxygen and high CO2 that cause vasoconstriction.
What?
In the lungs, if oxygen is high, the blood vessels dilate. If CO2 is high or oxygen is low, the vessels constrict to redirect blood flow.
And so, okay, so high O2, low CO2, vasodilation in the lungs, and then low O2, and then high O2, low CO2 in the heart means vasoconstriction.
In the systemic circulation, high oxygen and low CO2 generally cause vasoconstriction. So yes, it's the opposite of the lungs.
But why do we have vasoconstriction when we have high oxygen and low CO2 in the heart and vice versa in the lungs?
In the lungs, vasoconstriction directs blood to better ventilated areas. In the body, high oxygen and low CO2 indicate tissues are well oxygenated. So vasoconstriction reduces blood flow to those areas.
Tell me again.
Sure. In the lungs, vasoconstriction directs blood to areas with better oxygen. In the body, high oxygen and low CO2 signal enough oxygen, so vasoconstriction reduces blood flow there.
Explain to me some way differently because I don't understand.
Sure. In the lungs, low oxygen causes vessels to constrict, directing blood to areas with more oxygen. In the body, high oxygen means tissues are fine, so vessels constrict to reduce unnecessary blood flow.
I don't understand.
No worries. In the lungs, blood vessels constrict with low oxygen to send blood where there's more oxygen.
Tell me again about this high oxygen, low oxygen situation, the differences between it in the lungs and the heart. Sorry, guys, I took a 2-minute break.
No worries. So in the lungs, blood picks up oxygen and releases carbon dioxide. This oxygen-rich blood then travels from the lungs to the heart, which pumps it through the body. After delivering oxygen to tissues, the now low oxygen blood returns to the heart, which sends it back to the lungs to get reoxygenated.
Basically, if we have high oxygen in the lungs, we want to take it away. But I don't know actually.
That's right. The heart pumps that oxygen-rich blood out to the rest of the body.
Yeah, I understand that, but why when we have high oxygen in the heart and low CO2 in the heart, vasoconstriction occurs, whereas in the lungs it's vasodilation? Huh?
Great question. When there's high oxygen and low carbon dioxide, the body's response is to constrict blood vessels in the heart to optimize blood flow to well-oxygenated areas. In the lungs, vasodilation occurs to increase blood flow to regions with more oxygen, improving gas exchange. This balance ensures efficient oxygen delivery throughout the body.
I don't understand why the difference.
So it's about optimizing where blood flows. In the lungs, you want blood to go to areas with lots of oxygen, so vessels dilate there. In the heart, constriction happens to direct blood to the best oxygenated areas. This ensures your body uses oxygen efficiently.
Sir, I still don't understand though. Can you explain it in a different way, perhaps?
Sure, in simpler terms, your body adjusts blood flow based on oxygen levels. In the lungs, if there's lots of oxygen, blood vessels open up to grab more. In the heart, vessels tighten to push blood to the best spots. It's like directing traffic to where it's needed most.
I don't understand. I don't understand the vasoconstriction, vasodilation. Can you make it really, really, really clear for me the reason?
Got it. Think of it like this. In the lungs, vasodilation happens so more blood can pick up oxygen. In the heart, vasoconstriction directs blood to areas with the most oxygen. It's all about efficiently using the oxygen available.
Why does vasoconstriction take us to the right place in the heart? I don't understand.
Sure, vasoconstriction in the heart helps direct blood flow to areas that need it most. When vessels constrict, they push blood into regions with the highest oxygen levels, ensuring efficient oxygen delivery. Think of it as guiding traffic to the best route.
So there is vasoconstriction. It's selective. It's not all around the vasoconstriction.
Exactly. It's selective. The body constricts specific blood vessels to optimize oxygen delivery.
Wait,
Not all
but
vessels.
these blood vessels, they are not in the heart then. They are all over the body.
Yes, vasoconstriction happens throughout the body. In the heart, it helps direct blood to areas with the most oxygen. In other parts,
Give me an example. Give me an example. And why should we direct it to areas with the most oxygen? Surely we want to direct it to areas with the least oxygen.
sure, picture a muscle needing more oxygen during exercise. Blood vessels there dilate to deliver more oxygen. The heart does the same, ensuring oxygen-rich blood reaches areas that need it most. This balance keeps everything functioning
Well,
smoothly.
you're saying that the heart vasoconstricts.
Right. The heart itself doesn't constrict as a whole. Specific blood vessels around the heart constrict or dilate to manage blood flow efficiently, ensuring oxygen gets to where it's needed most.
If oxygen is low in a region of the lung, the arterioles constrict, and I don't understand why.
Great observation. When oxygen is low in a lung region, the arterioles constrict to redirect blood flow to better ventilated areas. This ensures blood picks up as much oxygen as possible for the body.
How is this possible?
It's a protective mechanism. The body wants to maximize oxygen uptake. So, if one area of the lung isn't getting much oxygen, it constricts the blood vessels there, redirecting blood to areas with more oxygen. This way, it ensures efficient oxygenation.
I don't understand at all.
No worries. Think of it this way. If one part of your lung isn't getting much oxygen, your body redirects blood to better areas. It's like avoiding a traffic jam, sending blood to where it can pick up oxygen more easily.
Yeah, it's like we're giving up on them though.
Not giving up, more like prioritizing. The body ensures that blood goes where it can get the most oxygen. This way, overall oxygen levels in your blood stay high.
Okay, so okay. Okay.
Exactly.
So wait. So if oxygen
Sure.
is low in a region of the lung, the arterioles constrict because there's not much to gain there.
Exactly. The body figures there's not much oxygen to pick up there, so it sends blood to regions with more oxygen available.
But when you say there's not much oxygen to pick up there, what exact? Who picks it up from who?
Good question. The bloody lungs capillaries picks up oxygen from the air in your alveoli. If there's not much oxygen in a certain area, the blood moves to where it can get more.
So, okay. All
Yep,
right. And poor ventilation means reduced perfusion and VQ matching, was all this.
exactly. Reduced ventilation means less oxygen, so blood flow or perfusion decreases there. This VQ matching balances ventilation and perfusion, ensuring efficient gas exchange.
I don't understand.
No problem. Basically, when a part of your lung has less oxygen, blood flow there decreases. This helps match blood flow to areas with more oxygen, making breathing more efficient.
Again?
Sure, if one part of your lung has low oxygen, blood flow decreases there. This way, blood goes to areas with more oxygen, making your breathing more effective.
What is, yeah, I got that. What is perfusion? What is VQ matching? What is ventilation?
Sure, perfusion is blood flow in the lungs. Ventilation is the air reaching the lungs. VQ matching is balancing ventilation and perfusion for efficient gas exchange.
What's perfusion?
Perfusion refers to the blood flow through the lungs' blood vessels, delivering blood to pick up oxygen and release carbon dioxide.
And etymology of perfusion, historical origin of the word?
The word perfusion comes from the Latin perfundere, meaning to pour through. Historically, it refers to the flow of fluid, like blood, through organs or tissues.
Coronary circulation?
Coronary circulation specifically refers to blood flow in the heart's vessels, supplying oxygen and nutrients to the heart muscle.
Tell me more about it.
Sure, coronary circulation involves the coronary arteries supplying oxygen-rich blood to the heart muscle. The coronary veins then return deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. This circulation is vital for heart function.
Tell me more.
The coronary arteries branch off from the aorta. They wrap around the heart, ensuring it gets continuous oxygen and nutrients. Any blockages can lead to conditions like angina or heart attacks.
Why is hypertension caused by a mismatch between cardiac output and total peripheral resistance?
Hypertension happens when cardiac output and total peripheral resistance are out of balance. If the heart pumps more blood or vessels are too constricted, pressure rises. This can strain the heart and arteries, leading to hypertension.
What's an aneurysm?
An aneurysm is a weakened, bulging area in a blood vessel wall. It can occur in any blood vessel and poses a risk of rupture, which can lead to serious complications.
Tell me again.
Sure, an aneurysm is a weak spot in a blood vessel wall that bulges out. If it ruptures, it can cause serious health issues.
What's the difference between aneurysm and other types similar to it?
An aneurysm is a bulging blood vessel. Other similar conditions include dissections, where the vessel wall tears, and varicose veins, which are twisted.
What about
enlarged
things
veins.
like atheromas? When things come, they look kind of bloated too.
Atheromas are fatty deposits in artery walls. They cause narrowing and can lead to blockages. While they may appear bloated, they differ from aneurysms, which are vessel wall bulges.
So the aneurysm is because of a blockage or something else?
Aneurysms usually form due to weakened vessel walls, not blockages. They can result from high blood pressure, injury, or genetic conditions.
And why do they get bloated?
They get bloated because the vessel wall weakens and can't withstand blood pressure, causing it to balloon out.
Permanently.
Yes, unless treated, aneurysms typically remain enlarged and can worsen over time.
How do we fix it?
Treatment depends on size and location. Options include monitoring, medication to reduce blood pressure, or surgery to repair the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
It's crucial to consult a doctor for the best approach based on individual circumstances.
Yeah. So what about orthostatic hypotension?
Orthostatic hypotension is a drop in blood pressure when standing up. It can cause dizziness or lightheadedness due to gravity pulling blood downward.
So the gravity pull downward, and why low blood pressure?
When you stand, blood pools in your legs briefly, reducing blood flow to your heart. This can cause a temporary drop in blood pressure until your body adjusts.
Why there will be low blood pressure? Well, the reason I'm asking is there's gonna be low blood pressure because we don't have as much volume of blood in the heart.
Exactly. Less blood returns to the heart temporarily, so it pumps out less, leading to a brief drop in blood pressure.
What's polycythemia vera or whatever type of anemia?
Venous pooling. When blood accumulates in your leg veins, it reduces the amount returning to the heart, causing that temporary drop in blood pressure.
What's polycythemia vera?
It's called venous pooling. Blood
No,
collects in the
sir.
vein.
We're talking about anemias.
Oh, got it. Anemia is a condition where you have fewer red blood cells or less hemoglobin.
Yeah, there is one anemia. It's something to do with the vera.
Yes, anemia affects the blood's oxygen carrying capacity, impacting overall circulation and energy levels.
Yeah, but there's a type that's two words. The second word is vera.
Ah, you mean polycythemia vera. It's a condition where the body produces too many red blood cells, thickening the blood and increasing the risk of clots.
What's the scythe and the vera part about?
Polycythemia means many cells, referring to increased red blood cells. Vera indicates it's a primary or true condition, not caused by another factor.
Why don't we call it polycythemia?
We don't say polycythemia because cythemia specifically refers to cells, especially red blood cells. Polycythemia emphasizes an excess of these cells.
And what's hypovolemia?
Hypovolemia is a condition where there's low blood volume, meaning there's less fluid in the bloodstream. It can result from dehydration, bleeding, or other fluid losses.
What's a cardiogenic shock?
Cardiogenic shock is when the heart can't pump enough blood to meet the body's needs, often due to severe heart damage, like from a heart attack. It results in low blood pressure and inadequate oxygen delivery to tissues.
Sepsis is like an infection, we said.
Exactly. Sepsis is a severe response to infection, causing inflammation throughout the body. It can lead to organ damage and is a medical emergency.
Is it specifically when it spreads to blood?
Yes, when an infection spreads to the bloodstream, it can cause sepsis, triggering a widespread inflammatory response.
Is it only its constant when sepsis when it goes to blood?
Not always. Sepsis can start from a localized infection that triggers a systemic response, even if bacteria isn't found in the blood.
What do you mean? So it's not a requirement that sepsis is only when infection goes to blood.
Right. Sepsis can start from any severe infection, but it's particularly dangerous when it reaches the bloodstream, spreading inflammation.
So how do we differentiate between a non-sepsis and a sepsis?
Sepsis involves signs like high heart rate, fever, confusion, and potential organ dysfunction. It's more severe than a localized infection.
So it's just another word to say severe infection.
Basically, yes. Sepsis describes a severe
Are you
body-wide
sure
response.
you're not sugarcoating this? Are you sure you're not oversimplifying it?
I aim to keep it clear and accurate.
All
Sepsis
right.
is a serious, complex condition.
All right.
If you want them.
All right. Cytokines cause vasodilation. What is this for fighting infection?
Cytokines are signaling proteins released during infection. They can cause vasodilation, widening blood vessels to increase blood flow, helping immune cells reach the infection site.
Mm-hmm.
They play a key role in coordinating the body's defense against infection.
What does precipitous drop in blood pressure have to do with sepsis distributive shock?
In sepsis, excessive cytokines cause widespread vasodilation, leading to distributive shock. This results in low blood pressure and poor organ perfusion, which can be life-threatening.
Explain to me again, I don't understand.
Sure. In sepsis, cytokines make blood vessels widen too much, dropping blood pressure. This reduces blood flow to organs, causing distributed shock, a dangerous condition.
Don't understand.
In sepsis, the body's response causes blood vessels to open too wide. This lowers blood pressure, making it hard for organs to get enough blood.
One more time.
That's why sepsis can be so dangerous.
Can you
and
tell me
requires
one
quick
more
treatment.
time? I don't understand.
Of course, in sepsis, your blood vessels open up too much, lowering blood pressure. This makes it hard for your organs to get enough blood and oxygen, which can be very dangerous.
Yeah, dude, I understand that part. The part I don't understand is it's the sorry, it's the cytokines vasodilation, precipitous drop in blood pressure, distributive shock.
Sure, cytokines are signals your body sends during infection. They cause blood vessels to widen, vasodilation, which can lower blood pressure. Distributive shock happens when this widespread dilation reduces blood flow to organs.
Why does the vasodilation reduce blood flow to organs? Is it because diameter is directly proportional in Poiseuille's law with something, or inversely?
Vasodilation can reduce blood pressure, which means less force to push blood to organs. It's
Is
not just about diameter.
is it inversely proportional to resistance or something? Oh no, I'm saying it wrong. About something about Poiseuille's law.
I get what you mean. According to Poiseuille's law, blood flow is influenced by vessel diameter, length, and viscosity. Vasodilation decreases resistance, but if pressure drops too much, organs get less perfusion.
And what's too much?
Too much means when blood pressure drops so low that vital organs, like the brain and kidneys, don't get enough blood flow to function properly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
Higher blood pressure also sometimes means that we don't have good circulation of blood, though.
That's true. If blood pressure is too high, it can damage vessels and reduce efficient blood flow, causing other complications.
Alrighty, so blood volume. Let's talk about blood volume. We know sodium is important. Yeah, what else? What can we talk about? So
Sure. All right, so sodium plays a big role in regulating blood volume because it helps control water retention. Another important factor is the balance of fluids, like how much you're drinking versus how much you're losing. Hormones, like aldosterone and ADH, also help by adjusting how your kidneys handle sodium and water.
what's circulatory capacity?
Circulatory capacity is basically the total volume of blood your vessels can hold. It can change depending on things like body position, overall blood volume, and the tone of your blood vessels. If your vessels dilate, capacity increases, and if they constrict, it decreases.
Tell me again.
Sure, circulatory capacity is the total volume your blood vessels can hold. It varies based on things like body position, blood volume, and how constricted or dilated your blood vessels are.
One more time.
Of course, circulatory capacity is the total volume your blood vessels can hold. It changes with body position, blood volume, and how constricted or dilated your vessels are.
Sum of inside volumes of every blood vessel in the body. So even the empty space.
Exactly. It's the combined capacity of all your blood vessels, including any empty space they might have.
What about the volume that doesn't have this? So what about the volume without the empty space? Does that have another name?
Yes, that would be your actual blood volume. It's the amount of blood currently circulating in your vessels, not including any potential space.
You're a genius. So why pressure inversely proportional to circulatory capacity and directly proportional to fluid mass?
It's because pressure results from the force exerted by the blood against vessel walls. When circulatory capacity increases, the same volume of blood exerts less pressure. Conversely, more blood mass in the same capacity increases pressure.
That makes
It's all about
sense.
balance. Glad it does. It's a fascinating balance, isn't it?
Hmm.
Absolutely. The circulatory system is full of these cool interactions.
I'm going to open the box of Pandora now. What is the box of Pandora anyway?
Haha, the box of Pandora comes from Greek mythology. Pandora opened a forbidden box and released all the world's evils, leaving only hope inside. It's a metaphor for unexpected consequences from a small action.
What do you mean? What do you mean leaving all the hope inside?
In the myth, after Pandora released all the evils, hope was the last thing left inside the box. It's often interpreted as a message that even in tough times, there's always hope.
But if she released the evils, surely releasing hope would be great.
That's an interesting take. Some interpretations do suggest that hope remained inside to give people something to hold on to despite all the evils. Releasing hope might have been helpful too.
Yeah, because if releasing evils was bad, surely releasing hope would be good and keeping hope would be bad.
That's a logical perspective. The myth leaves room for lots of interpretations. Keeping hope inside might symbolize that hope is always with us, even if it's not immediately visible.
That's nice.
Yeah, myths like these definitely get us thinking.
You know how, like, high blood volume is neither necessary nor a sufficient uh, reason for increasing blood pressure? Can you explain this to me?
High blood volume can raise blood pressure, but it's not always enough by itself. Other factors like blood vessel constriction or heart function also play a role.
So
So while more blood
basically, if I raise the blood volume, but if there's huge vasodilation, the blood pressure will decrease.
Exactly. If your blood vessels dilate a lot, the increased space can offset the higher blood volume, leading to lower blood pressure.
Why do you need in sepsis to raise blood pressure by infusing fluid into the patient?
In sepsis, blood vessels often dilate and become leaky, which lowers blood pressure. Infusing fluids helps increase blood volume to counteract this and maintain pressure.
Why do we have this leaky situation?
Sepsis triggers an intense immune response, releasing inflammatory chemicals. These chemicals make blood vessels more permeable, causing them to leak fluid into tissues, which can lead to low blood pressure.
Hmm, interesting.
It is. The body's response to infection can be quite complex.
Why do they leak?
The inflammatory chemicals cause the cells lining the blood vessels to loosen, creating gaps. This allows fluid and proteins to leak into surrounding tissues.
Why do they leak?
They leak because the inflammatory response makes the blood vessels more permeable, so immune cells and other substances can reach the infection site.
Hmm.
Yep, it's the body's way of fighting infection, but it can cause issues.
What cannot go through the glomerulus?
The glomerulus filters blood in the kidneys. Large molecules like proteins and blood cells can't pass through, while water, ions, and small molecules can.
Hmm. So, you know, do we have any disease where these things can go through and then there's big problem?
Yes, conditions like glomerulonephritis can damage the glomerulus, allowing proteins or blood cells to leak into the urine. This can lead to symptoms like proteinuria or hematuria.
Hmm.
It's definitely a serious condition that requires medical attention.
Why does the afferent arteriole bring to the glomerulus and the efferent take away? Can you explain to me the etymology, historical origin of the words?
Sure, afferent comes from the Latin afferens, meaning bringing toward. The afferent arteriole brings blood to the glomerulus. Efferent is from efferens, meaning carrying away. So the efferent arteriole carries blood away from the glomerulus.
All right. Can you explain the difference of filtration, reabsorption, secretion, excretion?
Sure, filtration happens in the glomerulus, where blood is filtered into the kidney tubules. Reabsorption is when useful substances are taken back into the blood from the tubules. Secretion is the active transport of substances from blood into the tubules. Excretion is the final removal of urine from the body.
Okay, so it's secretion that's confusing me.
Got it. Secretion is when the kidneys actively move certain substances, like drugs or waste products, from the blood into the urine within the tubules. It's a way for the body to eliminate extra materials.
How do they do this without going through the glomerulus?
Great question. Secretion happens in the renal tubules using special transport proteins that move substances from the blood in the surrounding capillaries directly into the tubular fluid.
What are renal tubules?
Renal tubules are tiny tube-like structures in the kidneys. They process the filtered fluid from the glomerulus, reabsorbing needed substances and secreting waste into the urine.
So, dude, let's go to secretion thing. I don't understand secretion. I get reabsorption, I get excretion, I get filtration. I don't get secretion and renal tubules too. Explain to me that.
Sure. So secretion in the renal tubules is when the kidneys actively transport substances from the blood into the tubular fluid.
Where
different
is
from
the
filtration.
actual location of the renal tubules?
The renal tubules are located in the kidneys, specifically within the cortex and medulla. They
So
extend from the glomerulus,
are they after the
winding through these
efferent?
areas to process filtrate.
Are they after the efferent? Are they at the part or the afferent?
Sure, differentiating between arteries, veins, and capillaries is
No,
crucial.
no, sir. No, sir. Sorry. Renal tubules. Are they at the efferent or afferent part of the?
Got it. The renal tubules are part of the nephron in the kidney. The afferent arteriole brings blood to the glomerulus, and the efferent arteriole takes it away. The renal tubules handle the filtrate after it leaves the glomerulus.
Wait. So basically, what's going on is at the efferent part we have the reabsorption, but we also have secretion, which is the opposite of reabsorption.
Exactly. Reabsorption in the renal tubules means substances like water, glucose, and ions are taken back into the blood. Secretion is the opposite. It's the transfer of waste products or excess substances from the blood into the tubule to be excreted.
And what about peritubular capillaries? What is this peritubular?
Peritubular capillaries surround the renal tubules. Their main role is to reclaim reabsorbed substances and water from the filtrate back into the bloodstream, and they also help with secretion of certain substances into the tubules.
Again.
Sure. Peritubular capillaries are tiny blood vessels around the renal tubules. They reabsorb substances and water from the filtrate back into the blood, and also help secrete other substances into the tubules for excretion.
So what things are secreted into the urinary part?
Several things are secreted into the urine, like hydrogen and potassium ions, ammonia, and certain drugs or toxins.
And
This helps maintain.
they were not able to be filtrated?
Exactly. Some substances aren't filtered out initially, or they're in excess. Secretion ensures these are removed from the blood into the urine to keep everything balanced.
Got it. Makes super sense. BUN and lactate, what are these? Why are they undesirable?
BUN, or blood urea nitrogen, measures urea levels in the blood, indicating kidney function. High levels suggest kidneys aren't filtering properly. Lactate is a byproduct of anaerobic metabolism. High levels can indicate.
Where did we find BUN from?
BUN is found in the blood. It's a waste product formed from the breakdown of proteins in the liver. The kidneys then filter it out into the urine, so high levels in the blood suggest kidney issues.
I don't understand.
No worries. BUN is basically a measure of urea in your blood. It's created when your liver breaks down proteins. Your kidneys usually filter it out, so if BUN levels are high, it might mean your kidneys aren't working properly.
Because I don't understand.
All right. Think of BU as a way to check how well your kidneys are filtering waste. If BUN levels are high in your blood, it means your kidneys might not be clearing out urea as they should.
I understand that part, but so why do high levels mean that my kidneys aren't working well?
High BUN levels suggest your kidneys aren't filtering out waste effectively. When kidneys function properly, they remove urea from the blood. If they're not doing that, urea builds up, which is why high levels can indicate a problem.
I don't understand. Tell me again.
No problem. High BUN levels mean there's too much urea in your blood. This happens if your kidneys aren't filtering properly. Healthy kidneys keep BUN levels normal by removing urea. High levels suggest they aren't doing their job well.
Why is this indication the case? Is BUN like a side thing made?
Yes, BUN is a byproduct. It's created when your liver breaks down proteins. Normally, kidneys filter it out. If they can't, BUN levels rise, signaling potential kidney issues.
I see. Usually it's peed, basically.
Exactly. It's usually removed in urine. High BUN means it's not being filtered out efficiently, which points to potential kidney issues.
So it's blood urea nitrogen?
Exactly. Blood urea nitrogen, or BUN, measures the amount of urea in your blood.
And what's the nitrogen part?
The nitrogen part comes from urea's chemical composition. Urea contains nitrogen, so BUN measures the nitrogen in urea present in your blood.
And lactate?
Lactate is a byproduct of anaerobic metabolism, produced when your cells break down glucose without enough oxygen. High lactate levels can indicate oxygen deprivation or metabolic issues.
Again?
Sure, lactate forms when your cells produce energy without enough oxygen. High levels can suggest your body isn't getting enough oxygen or there's a metabolic problem.
Again?
Absolutely. Lactate builds up when your cells generate energy without enough oxygen. High levels may point to oxygen shortage or metabolic issues.
I don't understand.
No worries. Lactate increases when your body makes energy without oxygen. If it's high, it might mean there's not enough oxygen or a metabolic issue.
Is it anaerobic, basically?
Yes, exactly. Lactate is produced during anaerobic metabolism, which happens when your cells generate energy without enough oxygen.
Got it.
Glad that's clear.
Why constricting efferent arterioles will increase filtration?
Constricting the efferent arteriole increases filtration by raising pressure in the glomerulus. This boosts the glomerular filtration rate, or GFR, pushing more fluid and solutes into the renal tubules for filtration.
Okay, why does an increase in pressure mean increase in filtration?
Increased pressure forces more fluid and solutes out of the blood into the glomerulus. This enhances filtration, allowing more substances to be filtered from the blood into the nephron.
What's serum creatinine?
Serum creatinine is a waste product from muscle metabolism. It's used to assess kidney function. High levels suggest the kidneys aren't filtering properly.
What's the etymology?
Creatinine comes from creatine, a compound in muscles. The suffix "ine" is often used for substances derived from or related to other compounds.
So what's the difference between creatine and creatinine? Why do we take creatine as a supplement?
Creatine is a compound stored in muscles, providing energy for quick bursts. Creatinine is a waste product formed from creatine breakdown. We take creatine as a supplement to boost muscle energy and performance.
Explain again.
Sure, creatine is a substance in muscles that helps produce energy. Creatinine is the waste product from creatine breakdown. People take creatine to enhance muscle energy and performance.
Yeah, but so what's the? I don't understand.
No problem. Creatine provides quick energy for muscles. When it's used up, it turns into creatinine, which your body then removes as waste.
I see. And how does it get used up?
Creatine is used up when muscles contract, especially during intense activity. It rapidly generates ATP, the energy currency for cells, then breaks down into creatinine.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's how creatine fuels your muscles.
Alrighty.
Glad it makes sense, yeah.
So what? So serum creatinine is creatinine in the blood in this.
Exactly. Serum creatinine is creatinine circulating in your blood. It's measured to check kidney function.
Why is it measured to test kidney function?
It's measured because kidneys filter creatinine out. If levels are high, it suggests the kidneys aren't clearing it properly, indicating possible kidney issues.
What do you mean?
I mean, if creatinine levels are high in your blood, it might mean your kidneys aren't filtering it out well, which can signal a problem with kidney function.
But creatinine is such a specific thing to try and test for. Why don't we test for any other molecule?
Creatinine is a reliable marker because its levels remain stable, and it's mainly removed by the kidneys. This
Why
makes it a good indicator.
why does it remain stable and why do others not?
Creatinine remains stable because it's produced at a constant rate from muscle metabolism. Other molecules can fluctuate due to diet, exercise, or metabolic changes, making them less reliable for consistent measurement.
Tell me again.
Sure, creatinine is stable because muscles produce it at a steady rate. Other molecules vary more with diet, activity, or metabolism, making
And,
them less consistent.
and why is creatinine stable?
Creatinine stays stable because it's consistently produced from muscle breakdown and not significantly influenced by short-term factors like diet or exercise.
Okay, what's the first reason?
The third reason is that creatinine isn't affected by most daily fluctuations.
And number one reason?
The number one reason is that creatinine production is steady, making it a consistent marker for kidney function.
Alright. So it's a breakdown product of creatine phosphate. So how do they differ in chemical composition?
Creatine phosphate has a phosphate group attached, providing quick energy. Creatinine, on the other hand, is the waste product formed when creatine phosphate is used up,
So
lacking that phosphate
why
group.
is phosphate so important for energy?
Phosphate is crucial because it helps store and transfer energy in cells. When creatine phosphate donates its phosphate group, it quickly regenerates ATP, the cell's main energy currency.
Tell me again.
Sure, phosphate is vital because it helps store and transfer energy. When creatine phosphate donates a phosphate group, it quickly regenerates ATP, the cell's energy currency.
Why is ADH called vasopressin?
ADH is called vasopressin because it causes blood vessels to constrict, raising blood pressure. Vaso refers to vessels, and pressin indicates its pressor effect on blood pressure.
Same way again.
Sure, ADH, or vasopressin, is named for its ability to constrict blood vessels, raising blood pressure. Vaso refers to vessels, and pressin signifies its pressing effect.
So pressing effect and so pressing vessels?
Exactly. It presses or constricts blood vessels, which increases blood pressure.
Constrict blood vessels. Is this what ADH does? I thought it reabsorbed water.
ADH does both. It helps kidneys reabsorb water, and at higher concentrations, it constricts blood vessels, boosting blood pressure.
Alright, so how does it increase thirst?
ADH increases thirst while acting on the brain's hypothalamus, making you feel the need to drink more water to maintain fluid balance.
How does it do it?
ADH triggers thirst, prompting you to drink more water, which helps maintain hydration and balance body
Yeah,
fluids.
but how does it do it?
ADH acts on the hypothalamus, signaling your body to feel thirsty, encouraging you to drink and restore fluid levels.
What does it do on the hypothalamus?
EDH binds to receptors in the hypothalamus, which then triggers the sensation of thirst, making you want to drink more water.
And how does it travel there?
ADH is released from the pituitary gland into the bloodstream, traveling to the hypothalamus and kidneys to exert its effects.
Tell me again.
ADH is released from the pituitary gland into your bloodstream, where it travels to the hypothalamus and kidneys to regulate water balance and blood pressure.
And where did it find the energy to do all this?
The energy for ADH's actions comes from cellular metabolism. Just like other hormones, cells produce the energy needed for its synthesis, release, and transport.
Posterior pituitary. Why is ADH secreted from there?
ADH is secreted from the posterior pituitary because that's where it's stored after being produced in the hypothalamus. The posterior pituitary releases it into the bloodstream as needed.
I don't understand.
No worries, ADH is made in the hypothalamus and stored in the posterior pituitary, which then releases it into the blood when needed.
Why specifically posterior pituitary?
The posterior pituitary specifically stores and releases ADH because it's connected to the hypothalamus, which produces the hormone. This setup ensures a quick response when your body needs to regulate water balance.
Why not another part of the brain?
The posterior pituitary is uniquely suited because of its direct connection to the hypothalamus, allowing efficient storage and release of ADH in response to the body's needs.
Okay.
Glad that helped.
Why aldosterone is secreted from the adrenal cortex?
Aldosterone is secreted from the adrenal cortex because it's part of the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, which regulates blood pressure and electrolyte balance. The adrenal cortex is specifically adapted for producing steroid hormones like aldosterone.
Tell me again.
Sure, aldosterone was released from the adrenal cortex because it's part of a system that controls blood pressure and electrolytes. The adrenal cortex specializes in making steroid hormones like aldosterone.
Guys, I'm too tired, so I'm gonna call it a day, and tomorrow we've got plenty of episodes. Thanks for listening.
No problem. Get some rest, and I'll be here when you're ready.